Morris. Welcome back to the More Weekly, reviewing the latest news at Alhambra High School. I'm your co-anchor, Keiko.
And I'm your other co-anchor, Sean Patrick Lee.
Last week, the deaf and hard of hearing and ELD students had a dance performance.
Let's take a look.
Students from the deaf and hard of hearing and English language developers practiced for weeks in dancing classrooms, a class that showcases and teaches a variety of different dances from around the world. Last Thursday, a showcase of 8 dances was shown to parents and teachers, and students also presented each dance's cultural history and what they gained from the class.
And the founder of Dancing Classrooms is Pierre Dulaine. He was an immigrant. He was born in Palestine. He moved to England. He did not know English. He was very shy. A friend invited him to take ballroom dance class, and he noticed that he gained confidence. He started speaking English. He was less shy. So he brought ballroom dance to New York City public schools. And for the last 30 years, they have been doing this in public schools.
Hi everyone, we are presenting the tango. Tango is a dance that started around 1880 in Buenos Aires, Argentina. It is a function of the Spanish tango, the Argentina milonga, and the Cuban habanera.
T-A-N-G-O, T-A-N-G-O. Raping wrote, I learned about different national cultures and traditions. I also improved my English during my presentations. Each session made me more confident and taught me perseverance. I also became more flexible. I really enjoyed the dance class. It was full of laughter. Thank you.
Let you go, that's right.
Recently, journalist Don Lemon was arrested after filming ICE protests.
Here's what happened.
Last week, a former CNN anchor, Don Lemon, was arrested by ICE for committing journalism. A grand jury in Minnesota indicated that Lemon and 3 others were charged of conspiracy and interfering with the First Amendment rights of worshipers during the January 18 protest at the city's church in St. Paul, where a U.S. ICE officer is a pastor. Lemon explains that he just went there to be a journalist, saying,
This I can't say a lot. There's a lot that I cannot say, but what I will say is that I'm not a protester. I went there to be a journalist. I went there to chronicle and document and record what was happening. I was following that one group around, and so that's what I did. I reported on them.
This has sparked a debate over freedom of the press. Many, including The Guardian, argue that it is a dangerous and politically motivated move to intimidate people in journalism. This event highlights increasing tensions between the Trump administration and journalists, with some analysts viewing it as a move to target independent reporters who are not backed by large traditional news organizations. Our own president is against mainstream media as he demonstrates intense hostility. The administration commonly labels these news outlets as the enemy of the people.
Who else has been calling the media the enemy? President Trump.
I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are.
Which is starting to undermine the people's trust. They even took action through filing lawsuits, reducing press access to officials, revoking credentials, and restricting government data, leading organizations like Reporters Without Borders to describe it as an assault on press freedom. If one journalist is arrested for covering an event, imagine what the future for journalism will look like. If you haven't noticed by now, journalism is now at a great risk nationally. If journalists at the national level are punished for doing their jobs, then students like us may start wondering whether journalism is even worth taking the risk. As a class, we already see fewer and fewer students interested in joining journalism. In fact, we just lost 2 more people within these 2 past weeks. Not only is this decline harmful to our own class, but it is also hurtful to our own school and future society. Less students interested in journalism means less voices being heard, minorities being ignored, and issues being left unnoticed. This class teaches critical thinking, ethics, responsibility, and the importance of truth, which is something we need especially in these dark times. If we allow journalism to be silenced, whether in the media or in our classrooms, we risk losing one of the most important tools a society has to protect democracy.
Finding a job for many high schoolers has been impossible to do.
Here's more information.
Trying to find a job has been an issue for many people for many years, but it seems like nowadays it's even hard to find a job in this new market. I asked some seniors from Alhambra High School how they have been struggling with trying to find a job.
Hi, what's your name and grade? Clef Bailey, I'm a senior at AHS.
My name is Michaela and I'm in the 12th grade.
Raymond Pallone, I'm a senior.
And how's it been trying to look for a job?
It's been horrible. Constantly sending out applications, getting denied everywhere. I'm not even 18 yet, so it's kind of hard to get a job.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that makes it way harder. You're probably instantly denied to a lot of places because of your age, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It's been pretty rough. I've been applying to places and I haven't gotten anything back.
I've applied to probably over 100 places over the past couple months. I've gotten maybe like 5 interviews, 1 second interview, and that's about it.
You didn't hear back from that second interview?
No, they literally, I tried to set up like a 3rd interview with them, but they ended up canceling on me last minute.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get the job there either. It's pretty rough though, especially with like college is coming up soon. That's gonna be kind of expensive. It's pretty hard to get a job though, especially for people our age.
And what Clef said there about trying to apply to 100 jobs, that's no exaggeration. In fact, let me show you my own spreadsheet. As you can see right here, I applied to this many jobs, but that's not all. I also applied to this many jobs. And these are all just the ones I kept track of. There's even more that I never took track of at all. Ever since the spike of unemployment during COVID-19, it seems like the job market was starting to get better. But if we look at the graphs now, it's starting to go back up. Now, unemployment going up could be because of many factors. The economy's not doing well right now, the fact that minimum wage in a lot of states like California is being raised a lot. And some local businesses simply cannot afford to pay that much money for their employees. And large corporations who probably could foot the bill choose not to because of corporate greed. Finding a job in general has just been horrible, especially for people who are my age range. If you're a senior and 17 years old, then you're limited to a work permit from the school, which means that work is less likely to give you the job because they just can't give you as many shifts as they would want to. And even if you're 18 like me, many people perceive someone in Gen Z as lazier and incompetent. The simple fact is our economy is not doing well and unemployment seems like it's slowly going back up. So with that, many people are going to be trying to find a job. And at the end of the day, if so many people are applying, then you, someone who's in school and is most likely underage, is going to be nothing compared to people who have way more experience and can work as many hours as they want. Finding a job right now is just horrible to do, especially for someone my age range. And honestly, if you're trying to look for a job, good luck, because I have not had that same luck that I really wish I have.
The next segment is a follow-up to hate speech and graffiti on campus.
Here's more information.
2 weeks ago, the More Weekly reported on the use of slur and hate speech found on campus, sparking conversation among students and teachers about safety, accountability, and school climate. Shortly after the report aired, a teacher removed the message from the door where it appeared, and the school later washed it off. While the physical message was quickly erased, the deeper issue still remains unaddressed. Removing visible hate speech does not confront the underlying reasons why some feel emboldened to use harmful language in the first place, and what the school has done to address this issue. With the lack of clear dialogue, education, and preventable action around bias, discrimination, and inclusion on campus, the response felt rather reactive than reflective, addressing the symptom and not the cause. This is not the first time these concerns have surfaced. We spoke with environmental science teacher Mr. Whitman, who has previously dealt with graffiti and hate speech in his own classroom space at San Gabriel High School.
Hi, I'm Mr. Whitman. I'm the AP Environmental Science and Environmental Science teacher here at Alhambra High School.
And what is your background or knowledge and experience with graffiti or hateful speech or slur use being tagged on campus?
And as a senior prank, 6 little boys came on campus with spray paint and other graffiti tools, if you will, and they vandalized the entire school with pentagrams and foul language.
And do you think the school handles things like this, or what are your thoughts on that?
They hit a lot of the vandalism really quick with brown paint, but I personally took steel wool. Still there, I couldn't get it off. And the school district, and specifically San Gabriel High School's administrators, left it on my door for 6 months.
And there's a lot of graffiti on campus, and also especially of like the N-word or hate speech, and I know you said you've seen some of it, so can you talk about that?
Yeah, I just erased the N-word next to our drinking fountain out here on the wall. You know, somebody wrote it in pencil, a little small, about that big, but so what? And the question is, why did anybody write it in the first place? It doesn't need to be written down. It doesn't need to be spoken. It's an offensive word. Historically, it's a horrible word.
And the school did end up painting over that door, but do you think that they do a good job of addressing the actual issue, which is why people feel compelled to do this in the first place, or do you think that they just cover it up?
I don't know. I don't understand why so many students want to write that word or other words that are have negative connotations and are evil. And I don't understand why new teenagers today have to write the N-word on the wall. It's ridiculous. That we have to keep like whack-a-mole, if you will, whether it's a bathroom or a wall on campus in the IT building or in my hallway here. It's unacceptable, and I think something needs to be said about it. I'll say something about it, but I'd like this district and school officials to really go, hey guys, this is not acceptable. We have a great high school here, and it's sad that students are continuing to vandalize it.
Hi, I'm Karen Jacobson. I'm the ELD instructional specialist here at Alhambra High School.
And what was your reaction, and what actions did you take when you found out about the hateful speech that was written on the door in the IT building?
Yeah, I was horrified. And as soon as I had the ability to go down and look at the door myself, I did. I actually missed the More News notification, even though I played it, but another teacher filled me in, and immediately I went and saw it, and I couldn't let it stay. I didn't want to wait for administrators or other people on campus to deal with it, and I was anonymously removing it until asked to come forward and say yeah. And I had the help of 2 other teachers. I think we need to go more on record and just talk about hateful speech to all parties on campus. This can't continue. It's never acceptable for that kind of language to be anywhere, denigrating students on campus, and it diminishes all of us.
That's it for this week's edition of The More Weekly. Stay tuned for more videos and check out the website, The More newspaper, for more stories. See y'all next time.
Tardy sweep.